What up, YouTube? Webhead Mike here, and an interesting article came on my feed the other day by the Hollywood Reporter about how Amazon Prime is no longer continuing with the Peripheral and A League of Their Own. Now, in A League of Their Own, it's going to be, they're going to get like, what, 4 more episodes as opposed to a whole season? And with the Periphery, not getting into too much inside baseball, some people didn't want other people to feel offended that they weren't continuing with the project, so they told them to go into production, and then the adults came in and said, stop this. Because again, this is a multi-billion-dollar operation. They do not get ahead if they allow chaff to slow them down. And that's exactly what this was doing. They were not getting the accolades or views that they were hoping for out of these. And I have to hope that this is going to transfer over to some of their other properties, such as Citadel, Wheel of Time, and Rings of Prime. Now, I'll put the sources down below to how I got to this, but this is the same group that looked at shows such as Reacher and The Terminalist and decided these are meat and potatoes shows. I mean, sure, we'll allow them to do their thing, but we don't really care about them. We don't want to promote this. What we really want to promote is Citadel and Wheel of Time and Rings of Prime. All of which, I mean, Citadel is its own new thing. I watched all 6 or 8 episodes of it, and it's okay, but it just doesn't have the emotional hooks that I was looking to get into and continue watching and to see what comes next. Wheel of Time, now, I have no familiarity with the books, but I watch people who do, and it is an utter travesty of what's happening, not only from an adaptation point of view, but also from just plain narrative. And that's then quadrupled when you get into the Rings of Prime, which is not even an adaptation. It's a loose interpretation or inspiration of the works of Tolkien. Now, you can get away with some adaptation wiggle room, like with the Peter Jackson movies, where everything isn't a one-to-one, but they are still highly regarded and loved by us because while they aren't 100% faithful to the exactness of what happened, the essence was preserved. You look at Rings of Prime, things are wildly different. Galadriel is in Numenor when she should be raising her children with her husband off in the Elven lands, and volcanoes are being started by keys being turned by a sword hilt, and the origin of a land is a font change. Like, not really. Oh yeah, and the dialogue is atrocious. It is overly circuitous, haughty, lofty, pseudo-intellectual, eats up time. The whole show is a time vampire. So much dialogue happens in that show that either doesn't have to, or it's being repeated and regurgitated from different points of view. Like with the ship in the stone analogy, I swear that dialogue was repeated twice by the older brother, Elf, where he says, the stone looks down because it only knows to look down into darkness and all that. But the ship does not look down, it looks up. It's like, okay. I knew you were going with a difference between the two. You didn't have to spell it out on top of it. Have some faith in your audience. People that are into Lord of the Rings are going to give you the chance and are going to be able to put 2 and 2 together and get 4. You don't have to spell it out. There was a 1, and then there was another 1, and then there was a 3rd one, and then there was a 4th one, and then there were 4 of them. You can just say 4 showed up. You don't have to spell everything out. And again, it's because these shows lend themselves to people that take this stuff seriously, because maybe it's an escape from the world. Maybe it's truths being spoken to them through fiction. But we care about this. And also, when you look at the Peter Jackson movies, there was a cool factor to them. A normie would look at it and go, wow, that's cool. And then if they wanted to, they could go further into it and go, wow, there's so much. We watch Rings of Prime, and if you're at all a fan of Tolkien, you think, my God, look what they've done to my boy. Like in The Godfather, look what they did to my boy. And then if you're a normie, you think, what is this boring drivel? People watch this? I don't know. I'm out. This is boring. So, I really hope this all translates into Amazon Prime. Maybe we come out with season 2 of Rings of Prime, but I can't imagine they'll get to season 3. I mean, sure, they've made their promises. I'm sure maybe it's in production or pre-production right now. Maybe someone somewhere is out there writing a PowerPoint outline of what's going to happen. But to it actually getting to sets, shots, and props, and scripts, and directors, and the actors doing it all out, I would doubt it. Because maybe a third of the people that started got to the end of season 1. And it really didn't help that it came out alongside House of the Dragon, which showed if you're going to do a fantasy series, do that. Because in that series, characters will actually talk to each other in an organic manner. Like, someone will say, so how do you feel about this happening? Well, it's going to mean this, and then that, and then this is going to be... No. You're telling me the mechanics of this. Tell me how you feel about it. It's like, oh, you were paying attention. The characters are actually interacting like people, not some scripted robots. Anyway, that's what I have to say about it. I know it's been a while, but I had to get back into it after a long hiatus because life comes at you fast, schedules change, got to get into a new groove of things, but hopefully I'll be back into it now. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Amazon Prime going to continue with this, or are they going to find other projects that are just going to be more favorable?